Good morning to the fellow viewers. Today, me and my groupmate will be talking about the most controversial topic for this current century, which is social engineering. Now, social engineering is an attack vector or a path that relies most heavily on the human interactions and often involve tricking people into breaking normal security procedures. Now, the question that arises is, how does the social engineering cycle work? Well, there are four different things in which a social engineering cycle works. Number one being the information gathering. There are a lot of ways and techniques by which an attacker can gather sensitive information about the target. Once the information is gathered, it can be used to develop a relationship with the target or someone who is associated with the target for the success of the attack. Example of the information that is gathered can be a birth date, a phone list, organizational chart. Number two, developing a relationship. The attacker will then try to set up a good bond with the target to make sure that he gains the trust of the target, which can be exploited later. Number three, exploitation. The target that can be slowly manipulated by the attacker, who then can reveal the trust to the personal information like password to carry out some action. For example, re-entering the username and password for reversing the Facebook policies. Number four, execution. Once the task that has been requested by the target is done, the cycle is completed. Social engineering attacks are very widespread that occur often and are very costly for many organizations. A recent survey showed that 850 IT companies located in UK, Canada, Germany and Australia found that 48% of them were the victims of the social engineering. Moreover, they have been attacked at least 25 times in the past 2 years, with the total cost occurring up to $100,000 per attack.
My name is Raj and I am Buran's groupmate. Today I am here to talk about examples of social engineering. So, first example is email from a friend. So let's say an attacker manages to get the password of a victim's email ID. He probably will have access to all of his contacts and social networking sites, because most probably people use the same password. So these messages will mostly use your trust and curiosity, like containing a link that you just have to check out, and because it is sent from a friend, the victim will trust it and open it and then be infected by the malware. The attacker then takes over the machine and takes out all the relevant information needed. Second thing is that it will contain a download like pictures, music, documents and anything that once you download it, since it's from your friend, the machine becomes infected and the attack spreads to everyone you know. These messages usually have a compelling story, like urgently asking for help. The person we know have been beaten up in country X and is in the hospital and need money on an urgent basis. Then another one is asking for donation for the charitable fundraisers. Emails usually contain instruction on how to send the money to the attacker. So, the second example of social engineering is the phishing attempt. Typically in this case scenario, the phisher sends an email, text message, IM that appears to be from the legitimate source. These messages usually have a scenario or a story behind them. The problem will be explained in this message. They will ask you to verify the information by clicking on the displayed link and providing additional information in the form. Then the email will usually look legitimate with proper logos and content. Because everything looks legitimate and in place, the victim usually provides whatever information is being asked. Often, these types of phishing scam will include a message or a warning sign saying that what will happen if you don't act soon. Another example of the phishing attack is a message notifying you that you are a winner of something. In this situation, the victim will be redirected to a website where it will be said they are a lottery winner or a million customer to their website, and etc. etc. In order to get the winnings, the victim has to provide his personal details and social security number. The people who usually become a victim of phishing attacks like these are left with their bank accounts empty. Moreover, another example of the phishing attack is a message asking for help. Attackers usually prey on their victims' kindness and generosity, asking for support in the political campaign or charity organization, etc. etc. Furthermore, Another example of social engineering is a response to a question you never had. Criminals in this case may respond to you asking for help while offering more help. They usually pick software companies or banks with millions of people inside the institution. The victim, if he is not using the product or service, then they tend to ignore this message. But if they happen to use this product, then they usually become a victim of social engineering. Now, the last example of social engineering is creating distrust. Social engineering in some cases is all about creating conflicts and distrust among employees. These kind of activities are generally carried out by people whom you may know and people who are angry with you. But sometimes are also done by people who are just trying to create havoc. People just want to create distrust in the victim's mind about others and then become a hero and gain trust.
After knowing out the examples of social engineering, now I would like to tell you about how to prevent all this from happening. Well, number one thing is slow down. Attackers usually want their victims to act first and then think later. If the message conveys a sense of urgency or use high-pressure tactics, never let the urgency affect your decision. Number two, research the facts. If there is any unsolicited message, be suspicious. If the message looks like it's from the company you use, do your own research and find out more about it. Number three, delete any request for financial information or password. If the message is asking you to reply with personal information or password, please ignore it. Number four, reject requests to help for others. Any financial institution will never ask your assistance or help. If you did not personally request assistance from the sender, then consider it a scam. Number fifth, don't let in control of where you land. You should always be in control of finding the website yourself by using a search engine to be sure that you land where you intend to land. However, over links in the email will show you the actual URL at the bottom. Be a good fake. Nothing can actually go wrong. In conclusion, social engineering is the technique used by the hackers or other criminals to persuade people to divulge confidential information for their personal gain or for malicious purposes. Although social engineering attacks are very difficult to defend against because of their involvement in the human element, it is very much possible for organizations and individuals to protect themselves by being trained on the importance of the security and gathering awareness of the possible engineering attack that they might encounter. And goodbye.